You're a mum, you're a mum, you're a busy mum. Come listen to the Busy Mum podcast. Life hacks and inspiration for the busy modern mum.
This podcast is sponsored by Boobs on the Run. Melanie Warman is the founder of Boobs on the Run. The entire ethos of Boobs on the Run is to teach women to not only run, but become inspirational women, carving out time for themselves and increasing their confidence. Mel has also started teaching children how to run properly as well. This business is called Kids on the Run. Mel was one of my very first guests on the podcast last year. You can learn more about her at episode 2. Mel and her wonderful team teach women and children how to run properly and sustainably. You can reach Melanie at www.boobsontherun.com.au or email her at info@boobsontherun.com.au.
Okay, so Petria, welcome to the Busy Mum podcast. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Jackie?
Yeah, not too bad. Can you just tell us and the audience a little bit about you and how do you define yourself and what your business is all about?
So obviously my name is Petria. We, just over 12 months ago, we launched Coco Rose Interiors. So what we do, we basically sell online beautiful bohemian furniture and decor. But I suppose the biggest thing that's come out of doing just, I suppose, a retail store is actually our why. So we really want to encourage people to start designing their home and also living their life in a more natural and eco-friendly way. I think the trend is changing and people are really starting to question where their products are coming, how they're being made, and what the actual process is before they get to you and to your house. So we really want to educate people on, the process as well, and then also have beautiful, long-lasting pieces of furniture in the meantime.
So are you buying these yourself at, like, say, wholesale, and then do you have, like, a storeroom for them? Like, how are you managing that side of the business?
So we used to live in Indonesia. We made this change just to suddenly pack our family up and live there for 12 months. So whilst we were there, I've always had thoughts of having a business, basically. I wanted to do something for myself and be able to work around my children, and I was a florist. So being in floristry, we're selling a product that's dying. So I knew that was never going to be somewhere that I was going to go down. And so when we were living in Indonesia, we come across all these beautiful artisans that have been doing these trades, I suppose, for hundreds of years that have literally been passed down. And it's like, wow, that's actually where we should be doing our business, because this is beautiful product. These people are so talented. Let's start importing it. So we worked out basically kind of what we wanted to do or what we wanted to sell. And then I sourced it whilst we were living there, but then I moved back to Australia to have my third child. And that was kind of when it started the ball rolling. I think Coco was only a few months old, and then we decided to start importing. So, because again, I don't do anything in halves. And so we purchased a house that actually has quite a large storage shed at our house. So we're quite fortunate is that we don't have to go anywhere. So it's all online. I can literally just walk outside and package up products and post them out from our house, which is super easy.
So how big is your biggest product then, and how do you ship that? Do you ship it through Australia Post, or do you get couriers to come in? Or?
No. So shipping is always an interesting thing. Even after a year of operating, I'm still trying to find the most reliable shipping company. They don't have the same ethics as what I have, I've discovered. A single size bed is what we ship, is the largest. And because it's made by an artisan, it's not a flat pack from IKEA. So it's large. It's a single size bed. So definitely our largest product. And that is honestly probably one of the biggest headaches in my life, is finding the shipping companies that are reliable.
How are you shipping it right now?
We ship it through, like, TNT is probably our main one that we use at the moment, but it's, they're just not, they don't care for our products as much as we care for our products. So I've had a few issues with.
Oh, and I can imagine the damage, like if they damage them, like they are like one-off kind of products. You can't just reproduce it like that. And
no.
Yeah, insurance is the key, right?
Yes, and I've learned that from the hard way when finding that out.
We learn that continually, like, because we try to be really, competitive with our shipping as well. We own a men's grooming company, but our products are quite little, but smashable. So sometimes they arrive a bit smashed and we're like, oh. And the customer doesn't purchase the insurance option. So, like, you kind of like, well, do you kind of wipe your hands from it and go, well, that's actually not, we didn't do that, and draw the line. But now with social media and it's like, and stuff, you kind of got to be the bigger person and just give them another one at your own cost so that they don't go and, kill your business on social media, which is a really scary thing. So I just, I can't stress that enough with any kind of business these days, is that, like, the customers can destroy you in a second, really.
Because a post can be shared. That's completely right. We've actually been really quite lucky. There was 2 people in 18 months of actually operating, to have 2 people with damaged products is probably not the biggest thing, but they've been really kind and understanding, and understand that it's the middle person that's doing it. It's not the end, but at the end of the day, it costs the small business owner. It's not costing anyone else but the small business owner.
Exactly. And I think every time we don't get many of them either, which is good because we've learnt, we've done our packaging better, and bubble wrap is key. But I think a lot of people do know that Australia Post throw stuff, and they don't treat your product as well as what you do. So just to go back, like, why did you guys move to Indonesia? Like, that's really amazing that you did that with a family for 12 months. Like, what made you do it?
We don't really ever do anything in halves. Like, we've always talked about it. We've always visited there for holidays. So that was something that we've always had, that love. There's always something there that we really like about it. And, we kind of got married. We had my second daughter, and it's just like, well, why not? Like, what's actually stopping us? My husband is a fly-in, fly-out worker. So we're based in Brisbane, but he actually works majority of the time over in WA. So to get from WA to Bali, it's 3 hours. It's quicker than to Brisbane. So we just decided, why not, just for a year? I feel even now, I don't know if I'd ever live there again, but I feel our lives are going to be very entwined. I have on my vision board, I want to spend at least 4 weeks this year there, just so you can sort of, I don't know, there's just something about it that draws you there, and our children love it, and it's a different way of life. Like, obviously you've got 2 extremes. So you've got the expats who are living an expat life, and then you've got the other end where a lot of Indonesia is actually quite poor. So you're exposing your children to something that makes them feel very lucky for all the things that they do have, because you see what other people don't have, and those people are probably happier. So we really loved that side of things. And even we were quite lucky. We had a nanny and a housekeeper. And why I moved back, I questioned myself so often, because I didn't have to cook or clean. But it was really beautiful, because even though they didn't have much, she would still invite us over to their house. She would cook us food if we wanted. And it's just a really beautiful experience for your family to see as well, the extremes of life, and everyone's just as happy. And even when we went back, we've been back multiple times now, we'll still go visit all our old staff and have lunch and sit on the floor with them. And it's just, I don't know, it's just something that I think your children need to really understand, that we are really fortunate in Australia.
Yeah, and they won't get it unless they start to see that kind of thing. And we've been overseas on holiday, but they mainly just see the resort. And then they think, well, that was Vietnam and that's Bali. And it's like, well, that actually isn't at all like the country. We kept you there because you got, like, peanut allergy and I didn't want you to die. Little things like that. My kids still struggle with a daily basis of how much they actually get. Like, my daughter, she lost her tooth yesterday. So the tooth fairy came to visit her, but she wanted to keep her tooth and the money. And I was a bit like, no, that's not how it works. And she's like, I'm really upset with that tooth fairy. And then she's like, did you take it, Mum? Did you throw it in the bin? And I'm like, because she's nearly 10, so she knows. And I've got all of her teeth. I've kept them. Is that weird? Yeah. It's probably a bit weird.
No. I have it as well, except for my 10-year-old daughter lost her last tooth, but I didn't realise she put it beside the sink in a cup with all my dirty dishes, and I tipped it down the sink. So out of all the teeth, that's the only one that I don't have.
Yeah, well, there was one where
with it.
there's one, Maddie was walking like across a road and somehow she spat it out and they couldn't find it. And so that one's gone. So then they had to write a little letter to the tooth fairy and stuff. And then I think one's gone down the sink as well. But I've got the majority of them. So, yes, it's like, why do we keep them, though? Like, because my mum kept my teeth. But why do we keep them? Because it's disgusting. Like, when you think about it, it's like, am I going to build a little child out of her again? Like, you know?
No. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe make a necklace.
Oh, gross. Okay, let's move on. Describe for us a day in the life of you. Do you have any life tips or hacks that you can share with the audience?
A day in the life of Petria is crazy. So my husband is, as I said, a fly-in, fly-out worker. He's not home a lot, so it's basically me running our household. Just before Christmas, he actually did a 3-month stint away. So he come back, he hadn't even really felt the baby move, and then he come back and suddenly I'm nearly about to have a baby. So it's pretty crazy, actually. But I wake up early. I set my alarm, and I try to wake up at about 4:30 each day. And I'm in Queensland, so it's light anyway. Just because that's the only time I can work without my girls kind of buzzing around my feet, I suppose. I've got 3 gorgeous children. So I've got a Rihanna who's 10. I've got a Lola who's 4, Coco who's 2, and then I'm about 2 weeks away from having number 4. So I like to squeeze a little bit of work in the mornings. My other girls go to daycare maybe about 2 times a week. So from a business side of things, I need more than 2 days a week. I'm finding just with this pregnancy and my husband being away, I'm tired. So I'm not staying up late working at night as much as I would be. And I think in order to make your business grow, you really need to... The more time you can invest in your business, obviously, the more your business is going to grow. But I've had to accept I'm not going to be dominating the interior decorating world right now. Maybe in a few months once I have my 4th child. But I think I've gone a bit off track then. But okay, so let's go back to school. So go back to school drop-off. We have playgroups. I coordinate a playgroup as well. And I think all the swimming lessons and gymnastics and all the other jazz that goes into it. But as for my life hack, I use a slow cooker all the time. I use it in summer, winter, autumn, doesn't matter. I think my children will never know what it tastes like to eat a steak or something that's actually really hard because everything's always so soft and melting in your mouth.
Delicious.
Yeah, I just find I need to have dinner organised before I even leave the house at lunchtime, which sounds crazy, but it saves my headache of getting 3 children into bed and homework and everything else that goes along with after school, I suppose.
Yeah, it's it's amazing what you get done in a day. I feel very humble, like I need to do more. Stop being so lazy, Jackie.
No. I've definitely, in the last few months, this pregnancy has been a bit of a life changer, not a life changer, but I've realised that I've had to actually look after myself more because I can't do everything. I like to think I can, but I actually can't. So definitely I've had to learn to do self-care because I think just for the past few years I've been so busy always doing something that I put myself last and I burnt out. Or last year, I should say. Last year I burnt out. So once this baby, before this baby I actually had a miscarriage. And that was me burning out and talking to quite a few professionals in the medical industry. It's like it's stress, it's sleep, it's no self-care. So I learned that I've got to actually care for myself. So for the first 3 months of this pregnancy, I did nothing. I slept. I just kind of chilled out. I made sure that I was putting myself first and massages and bubble baths and, I'm just about to pop this baby out. So obviously it works. It really works if you can help to look after yourself because if you can't look after you, you can't look after your children.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of mums go through that. I know we moved from Perth to Sydney and then we started a business 6 months while we were living in Sydney. And then I think a year after that, I had a bit of a burnout. And I was like, wow, this is crazy because I had no help. You know, my husband was at work as a lawyer and, you know, lawyer hours are like fly in, fly out hours basically.
Crazy.
Yeah, and you never see them. And then, you know, the self-care had to come in, and that's when you join the gym and you go for massages and, like, you just try and eat healthier and all that. So I totally get it. But
And it sounds so simple to do, but to actually prioritise, like, I've had it really hard to go to get a massage whilst my girls were at daycare. It's an hour. It literally is an hour out of my whole day, but I found it really, really hard to do. Once I got into that routine, it's completely fine. But, it's a really funny thing when you actually have to accept, to look after yourself. Because
I think it's because it's like, I think we must view it as unproductive time.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're not generating anything. You're just... Like, in my mind, I feel like I'm being lazy, you know, but actually you do need to sit on the couch and watch Netflix for an hour or something, you know, just to chill. And actually, I'll go on to that question. I'll skip a few and then I'll go back. Where do you go to get your entertainment? Do you do Netflix, or are you an avid book reader?
Look, I definitely have Netflix. I don't watch it as much as I do, although I did watch a cleaning, Marie Kondo,
the new cleaning
the new
thing.
craze that's going on. Yes.
I read her book years and years ago, years ago, but I've only now just done my closet, and I'm not doing my kids' closet. Yeah, I've done my closet, and the kids can do their own. Like, I'm not doing their closet. I'm not a slave. So I'm like, I like my things nice, but if you like to live like that, that's fine. But, you know,
that's so funny.
Don't come to me when she goes, both my girls like, can you make my wardrobe look like yours? I went, no. You can, though.
I can show you how to fold it. It's all about the fold. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's quite funny. No, so I would probably prefer to read. Like, to be honest, I find that a bit more relaxing than just, don't get me wrong, I will watch the odd Netflix show, but I'm not like a series buff.
Yeah.
But the most recent book that I've read is Winging It by Emma Isaacs. So she's the lady who founded Business Chicks, and I never read books twice. I've read that book twice. Like,
oh wow,
it was she was just really, really amazing. Like, if anyone actually hasn't read it, it's really inspiring. She's got 5 children, and she runs like a huge business in America and Australia. So I figure if I can run 4 children in my small little business, then I'm sure that we can get to 5
but you also need to think that she is the exception, not the rule.
Okay.
You know, like, she is. Like, because there's not, like, that's not the majority of the women. Like, so she's one exceptional lady, definitely. And I haven't actually been to any of her talks, but I have spoken to people that have been, and they say it's just, like, amazing. Like, it's full of energy, and, like, everyone's mingling, and there's loud music. It's like a nightclub run during the day for mums. You know? Believe it or not.
Completely normal.
Yeah, it's so completely normal. And I have that book, and one book that I'm reading at the moment is Get Rich Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffield Thomas. And I think she lives up around there as well. I think she's in Brisbane. Don't quote me on that. But she's all about the money mindset, and I find that's quite good. And then I paired that book with the Millionaire Next Door, and that book is heavy on the stats of the American millionaires and what they actually look like and what they buy and how they dress and what watch they buy, which is kind of a dry subject, but I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I you know, like, you probably have a beautifully designed house with beautiful interior and that, but for me, like, I'm all in the numbers. So, like, in my business, like, when I work with my husband, I take care of all the number stuff. So that's how my mind kind of works. So we'll move on to the next question, because I can go down that rabbit hole and start talking rubbish. What is the best advice you've received, or any kind of advice you've received that you could pass on to the listeners?
One piece of advice, I think, is to know your talents. So when I suppose whether you're just a mum, or I shouldn't say just a mum, whether you're doing mum or whether you're doing a business, you can't do it all. I think that's, I said that earlier, like, you can't do everything, and you've got to learn that some things you're really good at. Like, I don't like numbers. I hate accounting. I hate it. I will put it off till the end of the day. So I outsource it. I don't do it because I can't do it. I'd rather invest my time of something that I am good into something, and then that will be more productive with my time. So I suppose outsourcing is a really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Know your talents and know where your weaknesses are. And if you can't, just outsource it and you can actually be more productive. So from home life, I find I've got teenagers that come to wash my dogs and cars and mow my lawn and do all that, I suppose, boring stuff. And I don't mind paying teenagers because they love earning their money, and I feel better because my house looks good. And again, so numbers, that's one of my biggest things, is that I definitely don't do accounting at all.
I know. I did it for 13 years, not accounting, but financial planning, and I just, I had to get out of it though. Like I got done with it. I was like, I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So now I'm still kind of doing the same thing, but a bit different.
It's a little bit more variety.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also good. Like I really love doing the big picture strategic stuff as well. Like we sit down and we talk about where the business is heading, and like how do you do that in your business? Do you speak with your husband, or do you just like it's all on your shoulders?
No. So my husband and I, we definitely talk about our business together. I'm also running it, as in that sort of sense. Like when he's away, he's working 12-hour days. He's working sometimes 3 weeks straight. So his side of the business is he's an amazing copywriter. So he writes my blogs and he helps me write my website content and all this stuff. Again, that's my weakness. I can't write. I know what I want to say, but I can't get it out. So I kind of write all my blurbs of what I need it to be translated into. So with my husband, that's our kind of sides of the business.
Yeah.
I did work with an amazing business coach called Claire Wood. So I'd never understood what a business coach did until I worked with one, because I was very lucky and I received a grant from the government.
Oh,
to
yes.
help with coaching.
That's a Queensland
amazing.
thing,
so if anyone
isn't it?
ever Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some Australian-wide, but the Queensland ones are amazing. I never knew that the government offered these types of things. But, for any people starting a small business or thinking about it, or even in a small business, a business coach is amazing. Like it really set us in the right direction, because it taught us how to operate a business, but how to plan, how to forecast, how to, set your goals and work basically to run a business, if that makes sense. And I found it really good to be held accountable by someone, because you've made your list, and as a small business owner, you can change that list of your goals if you want. But when you're working with someone else, just to have that extra word of advice, they're checking up on you to see how you are.
Yeah.
More recently, I'm not working with Claire right now, but I have with a mastermind group. So I'm not sure if you're aware of what a mastermind group is, but basically it's not formal. It's not a super formal thing, but it's a group of women, business women. We're all different businesses, and we meet weekly just for every hour on a Friday to be held accountable for our goals. And again, I was really quite surprised that there's all these other amazing women. None of us are all in the same business, all totally different. So we all have totally different contacts. We've got all different knowledge of wealth behind the scenes. So that's something else that I found really, really helpful actually this year, or last year.
Last year. It's all kind of the same, just melds into one, doesn't it?
I'm still confused. I have to keep checking my calendar to see where we're at with what days. So a mastermind group. So just the support of other women. They're absolutely amazing, these other small business owners. They're really nailing it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I mean, and especially if you can't afford a business coach, like if you've used the grant and stuff like that, and then like you've kind of done what they've said, but you kind of want to go on your own path, like having that mastermind and, as you say, that accountability, like that is worth its weight in gold, really. Having someone say, why didn't you do that? You know, and you're like, well, I just, you know.
And it makes you do it. I would find every Friday or Thursday night you're checking your list. It's like, oh my God, have I done this or have I done this? And it's ridiculous because you're not going to get a slap on the wrist. But it does. It definitely makes you do it.
Just public humiliation. That's fine.
Yeah. just with 6 other girls, it's fine. I don't mind being publicly humiliated.
Oh my goodness.
But so they're definitely good things.
Awesome. And okay, I've got one more question until we go into the quick questions, and then I'll let you get on with your day. What is your greatest fear, and how do you deal with it?
I don't necessarily have a biggest fear, but I definitely feel that we need to have more family quality time.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that it's something that, again, you can very easily get caught up in the day-to-day running of your life, I suppose, that quality time with just your family isn't as high in the priorities. Does that make sense? Probably not really.
Yeah, it does, because that's one of the areas of your life you'd like to improve, isn't it?
Yeah.
So and how do you think you would make that happen?
So we have set ourselves. I've never been a person to manifest, but I've spoken to so many people about manifesting and vision boards, and it's like, right, this is my year to manifest and vision, because I actually want things to change this year. Yes. So I said to my husband, we're going to go to Indonesia for 4 weeks this year, and we're going to make it happen, whichever way will matter. And I want to do at least 4 mini trips throughout the year. So it doesn't sound like much, but because my husband's a fly-in, fly-out worker and his roster changes all the time, sometimes when he comes back, we don't have that break because we're so busy doing life and family and catch-up with, like, friends that we don't actually go to take away that time, whether it be just us or just us and the girls to go away. So, so it's definitely a fear that we're very aware of, but this year we're going to be changing that.
Yeah, just on that point, I know Ben and I, we sat down, I think in November last year, and we kind of mapped out our travel for this year, because he goes away. He's almost like a fly-in, fly-out husband as well, because he does sales trips. Okay. So he'll go out, he'll fly out for like 5 days at a time and then come back. So then I'll be in the office doing the office work and with the girls. But, we mapped it out so that we know each month this is what's happening, because I will go back with one child to Perth, and, like, that will be my little mini getaway break, but also one-on-one time with a child. You know what I'm saying? So as they get older, and we can afford to do this and combine it with work, it's really nice. And, as a child, they're spoiled, seriously. They just, they don't realise it. I've been on a plane so many times. Okay. Yeah.
So with our girls, actually, talking about one-on-one time, that's one thing that we also realised, the more children we have, the more important it is to have that one-on-one time. And they understand, like we explained to them, like, not saying that they don't get sad when one parent goes with the one child, but they understand that at another time they're going to get that one-on-one time. And, it's really, really important, especially because we've got a 10-year-old as well. So she's very
they demand it. They demand it, though. They're like, Mum, you said that we would go to the movies together. Now, you've got to keep that promise, Mum. I'm like, okay.
You're accountable.
Yeah, they do. They do. So, like, there's been a couple of times where she's said, I don't want to go to that particular, there'll be excursion. And she goes, I don't want to go to that excursion, but I want you to take me to the movies so we can have a date today. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And it's kind of nice. That's why I go, okay. Because, one day out of school, they're not going to, it's not going to diminish their grades,
you know. And, they're going to be fine.
And it strengthens the relationship, and it opens up that line of communication, which I think will become very important in the next couple of years when they hit the tweens and the teenagerhood, and it gets a bit, hormone crazy. Yeah. Shall I put it? Yeah.
I swear the hormones are starting with my 10-year-old now. Like, it's very, very high and very, very low very quickly. I was like, 10? I was expecting like maybe 13.
Oh, God, no. It's like 8, I think, they start getting a bit like attitude, and you're like, hang on a minute, and then like you track it and see if it happens each month, and you're like, hang on a minute, this is a pattern. So it's just going to intensify, I think. Okay.
Send help.
Yes, send help, SOS, more so. Okay, 3 quick questions and then I'll let you get on with your day. Have you signed up to any websites recently that you find value in receiving their emails?
So I have signed up to a million websites, definitely. I think everyone has, to get that free ebook or to their pop-ups work, the discount codes, it all works.
Yeah.
But no, definitely the one that I find the most valuable is it's called Live for Less. It's only a little website. It's only a little, I suppose, organisation, but it's a Brisbane-based company, and they're just really helpful. Like, I don't even think I follow them on Facebook, but their emails are going to come weekly. They've got all these different hints and tips for basically how to be more ethical, how to be more sustainable, all different events around the Brisbane sort of surrounding area of basically to encourage it. So that's obviously our business. So that's our why. So that takes my, that's why I definitely open their emails every time that they come up. So, if anyone's wanting to, to understand a little bit more, and especially if you're located in Queensland or Brisbane, it's definitely really, a really valuable website. They provide lots of value.
Excellent. What's one piece of advice you would give your pre-baby self, which was over 10 years ago now?
Yes. To sleep. Just to appreciate your sleep-ins, appreciate sleeping 8 or 10 hours straight. I don't sleep as much as any mum would like to sleep. A good night, like last night, I think I only woke up about 4 or 5 times. So I feel pretty normal today, whereas another night I woke up about 10 times. But that, it's being pregnant and children and dogs and holidays and the fun stuff. But no, just sleep.
Just sleep.
Don't ever complain to get a bad night's sleep.
And did you have any useful or useless baby items with any of your children?
Look, I would probably say that they get too much toys, definitely. So another sort of value of our business is we like a more minimalist approach. And I think once you've got that bit of a mindset, you realise that they just get given so much toys. And I suppose living in Indonesia as well, so we moved over there with 5 bags. So you don't need all the stuff that you have here.
Yeah.
You don't need probably half of it. So I think, that's probably the most useless thing is all the toys and things that you get given and they don't actually need. They play with the box. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, they play with the box. And do you have anything like when you have your baby, like so you're going to experience this in the next few weeks? Is there one thing that you can't live without when you have your baby? Like, is it I don't know, wraps or boobs?
Well, food is nice. Definitely the appetite increases. One thing that I can't live without with. No, I probably not. Like I think I'm like every normal mum. Like I've got my little box of things ready for the baby. But my favourite thing, those breast cooling pads. That was one thing. Like obviously any breastfeeding mum, especially being in Queensland, new baby, doesn't matter how many children you've had. They need a little bit of care and love. Yeah. So I don't even know what brand they are, but that would probably be my favourite thing once you have that baby. Those first weeks.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Petria, for being on the Busy Mum podcast. It's been fantastic speaking with you this morning. Yay.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Busy Mum podcast. Don't forget to let your friends know and also subscribe to the iTunes channel and also my socials if you want to see what I'm getting up to. A brand new episode is out every Monday morning, just like clockwork.